What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is the JR Wisdom channel. Once again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Coming at you prime time on the late night. I want to give a special shout out to everybody tuning in. Tonight, back to back lives, I'm bringing a special guest. She's going viral a couple times here on YouTube. You guys may have seen her on TikTok, Facebook, IG. You may have seen a few of her videos. Especially for the ladies, it's been very controversial, but she speaks her mind, guys. And within this space, we definitely appreciate her honesty and things of that nature. But we're really gonna find out who this young lady is, her trials, tribulations, triumphs, her thoughts on relationships, love, just life in general. And I think she has an interesting story that I think men and ladies need to hear. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this beautiful lady on in here. If you guys didn't know, you're about to know. And her name is Delia King.
Oh,
Y'all
yeah,
give a round
nothing.
of applause for this beautiful lady right here.
This
Shout
is
out,
gonna be a
shout out,
terrible
shout
one.
out. Miss King, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Miss King?
Hi,
How's
yeah,
it going?
I can hear you a bit.
What's up? How are
It's
you
going
doing?
good. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, it's the greatest day of my life. Thanks for asking. So, before we jump right into the questions, like I said, you've been making a lot of waves on the air, making a lot of waves on the internet with a few of your videos that have gone viral in terms of what you have to offer a man, and it may have been misinterpreted. A lot of folks felt that it's very heartfelt and you were speaking some truth that a lot of women needed to hear, as well as some other things in terms of women expecting men to pay for everything, pay for their eyelashes, hair done, and all those things like that. So it's dope to finally have you on here, and that way we can
Thank
kind of find out more about you in your space. So with that being said, let's find out, where are you originally from, Delia?
So I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and that's where I currently stay.
Kansas City. How is so you're born and raised
Yes.
out there? What was life like growing up out there for you as a young and coming up?
Well, I'm adopted. So
Okay.
originally, now prior to, I'm gonna always, of course, say born and raised because like my childhood schooling and majority of everything memory wise that I have is here rooted in Kansas City. But I did live in San Diego, California, and also Dallas, Texas as a child. Because I know my very first address was 2345 Market Street, San Diego, California. If I'm not mistaken, 66109. I really feel like I remember it exactly like that. So that's a part of my childhood memories, but that's not so much Kansas City. And I also remember Dallas largely for the downtown Dallas, that large ball that's in downtown Dallas. I remember
Mm-hmm.
seeing that a lot as a child. But all of my friends and everything from childhood growing up is rooted here in Kansas City. And my childhood was, in my opinion, a decent childhood. It was basic. I wouldn't say like I missed things that others didn't and all of that. The only real difference I would say is with me being adopted and the parents that adopted me, they were a lot older than my original parents would have been. So it would have been the same feel as being raised by grandparents. And I feel like that changed, of course, a lot of the perspective for how I was brought up because a lot of my morals and my rooted system, of course, come from the old school with them
Mm-hmm.
being old school, but they pretty much raised me in a world that's no longer old school.
Mm-hmm. Understood. So your parents. So were you? So you were you born like when you were born? Were you just adopted as a baby or?
No, so
Okay.
I was born in '88. I wasn't adopted until well, I want to say '96 or something, but I was 7. So at the time when I was adopted, the mother that adopted me was 67. Prior to that, I stayed with my mom and we went through just multiple different things. And she finally decided to come to Kansas City. And she originally left me with my birth grandmother. And my birth grandmother had placed me up for adoption. And one thing that a lot of people don't know, the difference between my adoption and a lot of other adoptions is how it even originally happened. When my mom first came back to Kansas City, she used to go to Central High School back when she was in high school, and she dated this guy. And the guy that she dated, when she came back to Kansas City, she ran back into him and she started dating him. Well, when she dated him, she would leave me at home with his mom, which in return ended up being my mom, because when my mother decided to leave me in Kansas City with my grandma, and my grandma put me up for adoption, my non-mother at that time reached out like, hey, well, where is she? We'd like to start getting her. And she let them know that she put me up for adoption. And originally it started as weekend visits, and as time went on, it turned into a legal guardianship, then adoption. So my mother actually knew where I was because it kind of technically was like a childhood friend.
Gotcha. So so just so I'm clear, so you were at Kansas City. You were 7 years old in Kansas City when you went to live. Was you said this was your mother's mother, or this was as far as your
Yes,
grandma?
when I was yeah, when my mother came back, she stayed with her mother for a bit, and they've had their issues that I'll discuss
Right.
plenty of times in life, but they had their issues from their own childhood. And when she felt away, she ended up leaving me with her. But my
Gotcha.
grandmother's health was not the best. So she left me with her, but my grandmother could not maintain that. So that did not, I don't even believe I stayed with her a year either.
Wow. Oh, okay. So you were already 8 by the time you went to, live with the family friend, pretty
Well, I
much.
was actually about 6, 7, because I just know I wasn't solidified in a home and guaranteeably continually going to a school district until the 3rd grade. Almost,
Mm,
it was second into 3rd. So I had bounced in between schools because I had to repeat kindergarten due to the fact I went to kindergarten in Dallas and didn't
gotcha.
finish, and then came up here. So yeah, it's just a whole lot of all of that. So nothing was fully solidified until about 7 to 8. That was when I finally was sitting still long enough, which would have been about, should have been first, 2nd grade, but it wasn't. Like that's where, but finalizing and paperwork, them reaching out to my mother, her coming back and releasing her rights and everything like that. I know I wasn't a double digit yet. I know that, like, cause I just
Gotcha.
remember my double digit birthday and I was already in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. So your mother is originally from Kansas City, I'm assuming.
Yes.
How did she end out up in California, and was she in the
So,
military?
no, because in her mind, I feel that she likes to be what I would like to call a spiritual floater.
Okay.
So, it's crazy. My mom has an aviation degree that, like, she can literally build an entire plane, but my mom panhandles. She does no work. She's never had a job. She's never worked a job, any of those things. And when we were in California, we lived in that one address, and I remember it was up on top of a grocery store. But in Dallas, I don't remember us living anywhere. And that's why I remember that ball so much, because I just remember us walking all the time, seeing that ball all the time. Like that's a vivid, one of the most vivid childhood memories that I have is the ball is down in downtown Dallas, Texas.
Hmm. So was she still with your father doing these transitions?
No, I've never met my father.
Never met your father. Okay.
And
Got it.
if I'm not mistaken, I believe that he's actually here. And weirdly, I feel like I'm locked in this weird generational curse because I'm locked in this last name. My grandmother's husband's last name was King, but that wasn't my mother's dad's last name. And then
Mm-hmm.
she named my mother Yvonne King. And then my dad's last name is Powell, but my mother gave me her maiden name, which is King. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
there's some mess that has went on within our family locked in this King last name. And I'm now the last to deal with it, but oh, am I dealing?
Mm-hmm. Got it. So once you moved in with the family friend, what was it like at that point? Was it
Well,
like a better
it wasn't
situation?
really like I was a family friend. I didn't know that. So to me, it felt like I got adopted. And honestly,
Okay.
it was awful. None of my cousins liked me. They didn't like that I was light skinned. They didn't like that I was attractive. A lot of the cousins were Crips. So when I
Okay.
came, one of my most vivid childhood memories that I actually never talk about, but this does still affect me a lot of times, is I just remember when I first got adopted, we had this thing called the patchwork blanket. And it was like a little it was a group project that you would do with the friends that you had in the adoption agency, or whatever you guys would call it. But for me, I just would always call it the adoption agency, but it was called like the home. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, like they would just have different things where you would come and do stuff. They had a patchwork project where you could pick all of these different patches and quilt yourself a blanket. And I had picked all of these different type of red patches because red was my favorite color when I was a kid. And I had picked all these different patches and I had made myself a blanket. And I remember when I first got adopted and I was at home one evening and all of the cousins was over and we were in the room and everybody was, just talking and stuff. And I remember one of the cousins was like, well, you can't be our cousin because you had this red blanket. And it was like, what? Like, what do that have to do with it? And it hurt. And then they took the blanket, they cut the blanket, like they did so many things to it. And of course, mind you, I have to act as if I didn't care, but like it really hurt my feelings because it was really in my mind all I had, and it broke me in a different way. And as time go on and life just went on, it never really got better. So it sucked. And I feel like even to this day, my parents loved me, and I know that with every being in my body. Like I'll never deny it. They can never deny it. Like I love my parents and I know they love me. But I feel like a lot of the rest of the family, a lot of the love in this family went into the ground when my parents did. And
Mm-hmm.
it really does sting because like they say it takes a village, and I have these children and I don't get a lot of assistance with them, things like that. And it does, really sting. But I do know that my parents loved me, and I can't I can miss my original birth parents, but the second set of parents that were opportunity to me was the greatest blessing I could have ever asked for in my entire life.
So you never, so you, what's the term? It's not necessarily aged out. So you stayed with those same parents until you became an adult.
Yes.
Okay. So you were
Yeah,
raised
if
by
you're
that.
in foster care, you can age out if you have not been adopted.
Right.
But once you're under a legal guardianship or you're adopted, then you are with them until you either get emancipated or you grow up and move forward.
Okay. So growing up there, how was it like in throughout school, other than obviously you encountering those things with the family, that they had a disdain for, which isn't uncommon. It's things that that I haven't heard personally, because
Mm.
I've had my own encounters with that, but I hear a lot of women that do deal with issues like that. So how was it
Right.
like as far as you in school?
So, like in school, of course, I had to fight my own battles because when no, really majority, the cousins were either in different schools or, whatever the case may be. I know one thing that I never appreciated as a child that now that I'm older, I should have, was the reality that I had basically went to the exact same elementary school, middle school, and high school. Like I never moved really, we never relocated. So we had stability. And I used
Hmm.
to be upset at some of the people around me, like they would move. Like almost every other school year, and they're getting to go and meet the kids. That's how I'm viewing it, not realizing like their parents just aren't able to stay in this one location for so long. So I didn't get to appreciate the ability of basically having one childhood home, and I had that. So I think so often we just see what others have and we want it, not
Right.
realizing that sometimes, a lot of times, we're a lot more blessed than we think we are. But like just going to school in general, I worked at an early age because of my parents being so much older. And it wasn't necessarily they didn't have it, but with them being older and having a fixed income, like, they loved me. So I tell a lot of people that I was raised on survival because I'm the one that went out and got it. But I was raised on love because my parents loved me. It's just that, mind you, okay, I'm attractive and I'm popular in school. So I'm telling my parents, like, I need Tommy. And my mom was like, what? We're going to Montgomery Ward or Sears. And it's
Not
like, ma'am,
Montgomery
no,
Ward.
we
Say it
can't go
again
to
for
no
the folks that
Montgomery
ain't heard of
Ward
that.
for no Tommy. Like, what are we doing? And
Hey, you
that was
took
my
it back
mama
with
though.
that
Like
one.
my mama had a Sears card, a Jones card, a Finger Hut magazine, a Newport News magazine, and that's it. So if you wasn't trying to order out of none of them, you could forget about it. And it's like, ma'am, no, no, ma'am, no, ma'am.
You're right. Yeah, you took it back with Montgomery Ward. I haven't heard that in years. We used to have one in the city I live in.
Oh man.
Yeah. So you were popular. You were popular in school, from what you said. So
Mm-hmm.
after school, what was the transition like going into
So
adulthood? What did you do once you got out of school?
after school, when I first graduated high school, I went straight to hair school. And then because I always knew I wanted to do hair. I've been doing hair since I was 11 years old.
Okay.
So I always knew I wanted to do hair. I went to hair school after I graduated high school, but I ended up getting kicked out, but really because of my mouth. I was reckless with it. I'm like, who are y'all? Who are y'all to try to tell me I'm coded this? I don't
Yeah.
even need y'all. I just came for the certificate. Oh, but did I learn my lesson? So I got kicked out. And it was funny because back then it was only 1,100 hours in school, and I got kicked out at 750. So it actually really hurt because but by the time I ended up having to go back, because I ended up going back, it was 1,500 hours. So it was actually more, and I didn't get to utilize the original hours. So I learned a lot of lessons in that. But I went to hair school, and then I ended up having my first child, and then life has kind of just floated since then.
So how
That's
old
really,
were
I
you?
think,
Real quick,
when I had my
Delia.
first son,
Yeah.
22.
So you were 22 and you had your first son. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. So yeah, I was with my first son's father for 2 years before we got engaged. Then we got engaged, and then I got pregnant with my first son, and then we ended up not getting married. And of course, I just ended up having my first son, and then messy, and life just continued, of course, and it got to the point where, like I've stated, our breakup just wasn't good. And
Right.
then when we had our breakup was awful. And when we broke up, I placed him on child support, as many women do,
What
because
age?
we
What
need
age was
assistance.
this?
So by the time we broke up, D'Anthony might have been almost 2, maybe.
So he's like
Big
24,
maybe.
24,
So
25.
maybe 24. My
Yeah.
honestly, possibly 23, I'm feeling like. And I feel like that, and I say that because I want to say my next kid came at 26. So I just 2015. When you get older, then you put these years together, you get frustrated. But
Right.
my
Right.
second child came in 2015, but my first one was 2011. So there we go. I know the years. I don't know where I was at in them,
Yeah,
but
I
that's
got
that.
you.
So yes, first one in January 6, 2011. Second one, Cinco de Mayo, 2015. Now between the January and the Cinco de Mayo, though, this is a small but very detail oriented later timeline. I broke up with him. I placed him on child support because I, of course, was young and I was having a hard time taking care of my child. The child support pissed him off, of course, so much that instead of paying it, he gets bitter and takes the child. Not only in the midst of the taking of the child, because fine, people do that. They take the child when they're bitter about the child support. Not only does that, he further tries to upset by allowing the sister to put into the file that I have herpes simplex too. The reason that I'm bringing that up is because honestly, I know that I wouldn't have been with or even dealt with my second son's father, which I've known from my childhood, if I didn't
Yeah,
think that I had herpes. Now, I talked about this on my YouTube, but this is why I'm just giving a small synopsis about it. But in
for sure.
reality, I believe that I had herpes. So, that's not something that you play with. Like my brother's HIV positive. So I take these type of things pretty serious. So of course, when you find out or think that you have something like that, it gives you not too many options on how you want to date, because a lot of questions arise. Number one, it is do you trust this person enough to ask them or tell them this? Is this person going to trust you enough to keep your secret? Are they gonna want to deal with you after the fact? But of course, everything in my life, I have always taken the lesson and turned it into a blessing for myself. So yes, did I hate the life I lived thinking that I had that, but I used to be a humongous stressor. And I mean, like, I would stress to the point where I would get sick. And when you think, or if you have herpes simplex 2, one of the number one causes for an outbreak is stress. It's poor
Hmm.
hygiene, lack of dieting, and stress. So I kind of thank God that situation occurred, because for 3 years, it taught me how to control my stress. I let go of so many things, and I wouldn't have never learned how to do that, I don't believe, if I wouldn't have had to have went through that. Because the last thing I wanted.
Well, we wait. We'll wait for her thing to boot back up here. While we're waiting for her to come back on, guys. Wait up. Delia,
My
wait up.
bad, it's ghetto here.
Nah, you.
I think that
Well,
it
it's
like
just
I think I
before
got
you.
too excited.
Now you good. So just for clarification, because I think I might have missed that. You your first child's father, the sister put out, was it a rumor?
No, so she's a nurse and she worked at the clinic that I was going to.
Okay.
So she placed it in my file. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you could get her for defamation of character and all of this stuff. By the time I found it out, number one, she no longer worked there. Number two, I had no proof, just what I knew. So it was one of them where it is what it is. So
So she put in your file that you had herpes?
simplex 2. not just herpes. It's a big deal. Herpes simplex 2. So for 3 years, I believed that I had herpes. And how was I to know that it wasn't true when the clinic is the one that told
Right.
it to me?
Right. Right.
So of course, when I met my second son's father, I knew him from my childhood. So we ran back into each other. So mind you, this is a childhood bond, me thinking me and him are good homies. So of course, that made it easy for us to get together because it's like, it's easier to just, I shared it with him and he didn't care up until we broke up. And
Well,
this
wait
is
up.
this lessons learned.
Before we go on to
I'm
that,
sorry.
because I wanna cover this because I think that this is something interesting for the fellas that's watching this because I never heard this until I heard you say it on a video.
Mm-hmm.
You and your first child's father wasn't married.
No, we weren't.
So Missouri state law, I think you said that even if you're not married, the parent can take the child.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going through with my second son's father so my very first son's father, of course, me not knowing, me and him together placed our names, of course, on his birth certificate because we together had him. All
Okay.
right. When he took him from me, of course, originally I called the police. The police asked me that I have a court order that I had full custody of my son. And I stated,
Wow.
no, I do not. And they said, okay, do you have a court order that you have partial? And I said, no, I do not. They said, well, without any court order, he has as much equal rights to the child as you do.
Wow.
So that was with that issue. So I dealt with that. I actually get that son on the weekends. We've moved forward. We've matured.
But
So the
still,
issue now is my second son's father. Because of what happened with him, I went and when I had Carter, I did not allow him to sign the affidavit to place his name on the birth certificate.
okay.
So my middle son only has my name on there. He did the same thing. I called the police and then they told me that his name doesn't have to be on the birth certificate because if in the state of Missouri, if he is led to believe that that is his son and my child is led to believe that that is his dad, they are not at liberty to remove the child. And what's actually worse as to where my main frustration right now is the case that's pending against him that is at the level that it's at. The issue that I have is if he ends up going to jail for this issue, they have told me that unless a domestic violence case has risen over in the home, they are not at liberty to remove him, which is a problem for me because when this case originally arose for him, he did have to go to jail for a few days. The entire time he was in jail, I was working to try to get my son back, and they told
Was
me
it for
that
kidnapping?
it wasn't a kidnapping because he's his dad.
What was
But
he in jail for?
he was in jail for the case that's pending against him.
Which is what?
Which, if I'm not mistaken, it's either a hit and run.
Oh, criminal, something else. Okay, something completely
Accident.
different.
Yes,
Okay.
it has nothing to do with me. Yes,
Okay.
it's a different case. So the case that he has pending in the time, mind you, this is a person not listed on the birth certificate, but has my child, but now is in jail. So my child is with the girlfriend. Why am I not able to go get my child? They said that unless my child is in a domestic violence situation, they are not at liberty to remove my child from the home where he's with neither parent at all, let alone the one that's not on the birth certificate.
Let me stop you, Delia. Fellas, if you're gonna shoot any clubs up, do it in Missouri. Based
Yeah,
off
okay, straight.
hey,
Man.
hey, if you're gonna shoot any
Because
clubs
they
up,
don't give
do it in
a
Missouri. You got because this is
this is
unbelievable.
real
I'm
life.
just stopping you this real quick, and because I want to get this out. I find it. I hear what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of problematic to think like for somebody. Let's just say me and you laid down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 10 months later, you had a child.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say you were dealing with two other dudes while you're dealing with me,
Mm-hmm.
for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my child, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not my child, it's another dude's child. But
Mm-hmm.
I take this child.
Mm-hmm.
How can I legally take this child that isn't mine without a DNA test proving it's my child?
And enroll them into school.
I mean, but like this is law. You're telling me this is family court law that somebody
This
without
is, yeah,
DNA.
until we go to family court, everyone's free. My second son's father is not on child support by me because I would have had to put him on the birth certificate. He's on none of these things. My son will be 7 in May. He's been to kindergarten and is currently in the 1st grade. How did you even enroll him into school in Missouri? And it's funny you say Missouri, because if I lived 17 minutes west in Kansas, we wouldn't even be having any of this discussion,
Right,
because Kansas
right,
doesn't play that.
right.
So yeah,
Most
Missouri is
states,
what's called an equal state.
most states I know of, and like I live in South Carolina, and most states that I'm aware of, the
Hmm.
mother is the de facto custodial parent if you're not
Yep.
married. If
Yep.
you're
You
not
think
married,
that's
if you're
funny?
married, it's different.
My oldest son's father, mind you, remember I told you I placed him on child support.
Right.
For all of this, they didn't remove him from child support because he has him. He's had him for years and wouldn't give him back. But because I didn't give him to him, they won't take him off. We're both on it. He put me on it. So me and him are both on child support for the same child.
What are you doing to these men, Delia? What are you doing to these men?
Well, I've learned that it's the box. I had to shut the box down. I don't I want to be funny, but I'm not being funny. I know that it's the box. So that I'm not I you see I didn't even smile or crack a smile
Yeah.
because I
So
know that
so this so
it's not just the box, because of course it's me connected to the
right,
box
right,
too,
right, right.
because they are bitter when they break up, and one of two things happens: either I get the first two baby daddies that are like, well, if you don't want to be with me, I'm taking my kid, or like my last son's father, who don't want nothing to do with neither one of us. He's not in D'Anthony's life at all whatsoever, and doesn't call, deal, nothing. And it's almost like I don't know which is better, honestly, because they're all pretty messed up if you ask me. But yeah, I'm just convinced. So this is another reason why, at first, of course, when I made that original video, I was coming from a bitter standpoint.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't even have nothing to offer. But now with everything, it's like it ain't even about what I have to offer. It's the time and the space. Because like I'm working to get the middle son, I still have to learn him if when I do get him back and things like that. So it's like the feminine energy in me that's alone, of course, would love to yearn and date. But the grown adult woman in me that done laid up and had these kids got messes to clean up. So I don't have
Right.
time for that right now. And that's
Yeah.
a man about to come and save a hoe, then why
That's
would I
right.
even go and act like I want to pursue a man?
That's right. That's right. So let me ask you this real quick, and before I ask you this question, because I want to, I don't want to stay on it, but I really, and I'm pretty sure everybody wants to know this as well about the first, your oldest child's father. But real quick,
Mhm.
guys, hit that like button. We have the incredible Delia King. If you guys don't know, we have her on here right now. She's just she's laying down some, some incredible information right now for you guys.
Thank
Hit
you.
that like button. It's 73 of you watching right now. 46 likes. It's free. It doesn't cost you a thing. It'll help out your karma. Just hit that like button. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything,
Not
man. So
your
anyway,
karma.
yeah, it'll help out. It'll help. It's a good deed. So
That's funny to
so
me.
quick question. So you said it was the box, right? So we want to get outside of
Mhm.
that. So you
Mhm.
were young. We're gonna look at it from that standpoint. It's two sides of
Yes.
every story, and I'm just asking you a question. We all
Right.
know it's always two sides of every
Go
story.
ahead.
Do you think,
Yes.
like, you guys were younger, you were 24, around 24 years old, 24, 25, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, what was the issue that caused you guys to break up? That you felt like I don't want to be with this
You
dude.
want to
I
ask
don't want to be
that?
with this dude no more. I don't want to be with this dude no more. Yeah. What was it that made you say I don't want to be with this dude?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you why I'm laughing so hard, because the reason why I didn't want to be with him then is the same reason that I wouldn't be with him now. So it was because I was carrying him. So we were
Okay.
together, he would work, I would work. But when he would fall off and I would fall off, there would never be any pickup. Now, mind you, when I got with him, he already had a child. His first child he had when he was 15. We are now, I'm 33, he's 34. He is now 7 sons in and still doesn't work. So I want to feel bad, but why would I feel bad when he's not doing any better now than he was when I left him alone? And just to be quite frank, since we're being honest, something that hurts my feelings is he did the things that he did, and then he went a step further, because honestly, I just feel like they do things to hurt me. And just like how men do not like when bitter baby mamas use their children as pawns, I don't
Yeah.
think that men understand that there are men that do that as well. And so my son's father went and decided to get my son vaccinated, and he didn't get vaccinated, and I'm not vaccinated.
Yeah.
That's a rough decision. And then when I asked him why, he said, let's be honest, you're not around. Why would I ask you? what? I'm not around, but you don't allow me to be around. He doesn't answer the phone when I call and reach out, just little small petty things that people do. So it's unfortunate because, as a parent and wanting to be this strong vessel in your child's life, it is not easy to co-parent if you're only able to but they're not a parent. And I'm dealing with that with my oldest son's father. So it's just a really unfortunate frustration because my oldest son is over there primarily, like 100%. It's almost like I'm the baby daddy. I get him some weekends when he feels comfortable enough to release him. It's not every weekend, things like that. And that actually is not bettering for the life of my oldest son. And then also for my youngest son, they have no relationship at all because he doesn't come around as often. And my youngest son adores his brother, because little kids, they love the big brother. But I feel like my oldest son is burned out on being a sibling. He's the second of 7. He's tired of being a big brother. So it's a whole lot of rough emotions. And then, of course, I don't think enough people understand in parenting, when you are the disciplinary parent and the other parent is more of the vacation parent, the kid ain't trying to be around the disciplinary. So my son is literally living in a vacation. So he ain't trying to come over here and hear these rules, but I'm trying to structure him so he can be the best version of himself versus living in the comfort of what he's doing. So it's just an unfortunate thing because I can't reprogram my child in the little 48 hours that I may get them, when I may get them, if I may get them. And then I also can't cater to the reality that he's being programmed to believe that the only time he's loved is when we're going to main event. That's not a good thing either. So it's just rough. So all I can do is continue to be strong for the one that I do have here with me.
So let me ask you this, because I have to ask you this, Delia, because I know people are wondering this and they're going to want me to ask you. At what point, and I understand you were young, because I know there's tons of women that do the same thing that you were doing in terms of supporting this man or, you carrying the load. At what point did you realize this dude wasn't shit? And I'm not saying that, I hope I will not going too far. But at what point did you realize that your first child's father wasn't like that guy, like he wasn't ish? Because that's a question that a lot of dudes want, they'll ask, they'll be like, okay, well, you had a child by this guy. At what point do you realize that he's not, he's not that dude? At what point was that for you?
I think that people fail to realize, I think that when you're in a relationship and you say that you're going to forgive someone, you do forgive them. But I feel like the next time something happens, yeah, you may forgave it, but now a little piece of that has now came back. So as you keep with forgiveness, peace, you got this bridge that you've built of all these pieces of forgiveness. So when you get to that, like what the saying is, the straw that broke the camel's back. For me, with him, it was, okay, we done went through all of these trials and tribulations, cheating, mishaps, broke, homeless, living with family members, etc., up and down spirals, still loving each other, still making it. Then I have this child. Now, mind you, I told you he already had a child. So we got that child and then we got my child. Now, what you do with your child, fine. And I definitely feel like people need to understand this, because people that, when you have a child and then you have a child with someone, but they already have a child, that's a lot, because what they're doing with their child and what you're going to do, what the other parent outside of y'all do with the child, all of that coincides very much. So people don't understand that. I should have been paying attention to how he was parenting that child before I kept spreading my legs to make my child. But I wasn't paying that. No, never mind. So, of course, when my child came, how dare I be upset at the lack of father he was when I was witnessing it firsthand. I was front row seating it, but because I was loving him, I missed the memo. So the final straw for me was after I had Jeremiah, we were good. I thought we were living with his aunt, and he was getting up every day.
Y'all were living with his aunt?
I ain't even got there yet.
Yeah, go ahead.
You ain't heard nothing. We living with the aunt that was with daddy, and we're over there living, and he's getting up for work every morning, I thought, going to work. 2 weeks go by, and it's time to get the check. Wasn't no money. And I said, so what were you doing? He getting up every day, going over his homies and playing the game, acting like he worked. That did it for me.
I forgot what movie that was, but yeah, where a dude was doing something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, like you got to be the craziest person. And I feel like, because he's been carried all this time, like I met him at his dad's, and then, he lived with me. When he broke up with me, instead of going and working on himself, he met another chick and another and another and another. And now he's back at his mom's. You know what I mean? I
You
feel
got to
like
keep the
because
party
no
going.
one's ever kicked him out and made him feel rock bottom so he can build up, he ain't ever built. Now where we are, 34, he's 7 kids, 6 baby mamas. I'm not one to talk, but I'm doing things out here. I've signed leases. Like, this is a grown man that's never signed his own lease. I don't feel no shame saying none of this. Like, I don't, because it's true. So, and I feel like some people can feel like maybe I'm bitter because I didn't have my parents, but there are just a lot of people on this earth that I feel like because they've had their parents, that's a crutch. They're sheltered and not so quick to go out here and get it like a lot of us will, because they like, I can just go back to my parents. But if you got some parents that ain't gonna let you come back, you gonna get out here and get it.
Right. You right. You're absolutely right
Yeah.
about that. So so we got that part on the first one. So you said your second child's father, you known him since childhood. So I don't think you
Yes.
said this, but from me watching your video, you said he looked at what the first child's father did, and he did the same thing. Is that correct? Like, because he
Yep.
was with
And
you when
sent
you
me a
were going
text
through
message
all that.
that said it. Yes,
Go
he was
ahead.
with
Say
me
it again.
when he was with me through. So I met him towards the end of the relationship. He was like in a relationship with me when the first son's father took him. He was there for all of that. So when we
Gotcha.
got to our issue and our level, when he took him after the fact, because number one, when me and him first broke up, this was well before the taking thing. He made a page on Facebook and it was called Delia Has Herpes. He went and added everybody from high school. He added all my hair clients. He added everybody. He uploaded all the freaky pictures I sent to him while we was in a relationship, uploaded screenshots and text messages and everything. Like, so that's why I always say all these people get on here and try to drag me. Ain't none of y'all drag me the way these baby daddies have. Like, the shit y'all saying ain't nothing compared to being on the CDC's website listed as having herpes. I'm sorry. So anyway, he did that. But then when he took Carter, he sent me a text message and was like, don't act like you care. You didn't do nothing to Jay when Jay took Jeremiah. So like for him, it's the narcissism or whatever. That's what like I always say, Nick purposely took Carter because that was the only communication we were having. He used to do petty stuff. Like when I was pregnant with my youngest son's father, he wouldn't even pick Carter up and he'd feel away talking about, why don't you let that new nigga take care of him and all that. But then after I had D'Anthony, he picked him up and he kept him. And when he would get him for the weekends, he would text all weekend, you don't love your son because you ain't checking on him to see what he's doing. And then all week while I would have him, he texts me, you don't love me and you don't care enough about me to make sure I'm seeing my son, like just mind games. So once I started ignoring that, he was like, forget it then, I'm gonna just take Carter. And I haven't seen my child since. And it's been, if he keeps him until June 6th, that'll be 3 full years that I haven't seen or talked to my son. Not once.
You haven't seen, or this coming
And he's
June,
here.
you haven't seen or talked to your son in 3 years.
Not at all. I haven't seen. I didn't talk to him last Christmas. I had him on TikTok. I had a little video on TikTok before I started my GoFundMe originally, because it was showing just how my son looks. Because how he looks has even changed. Nothing but smiles when he was with me. Every picture I've seen of him on the internet since he's been gone, not one smile, and I'm not exaggerating. That shows like his character just doesn't look as happy as it was, which is troubling to a mother. So I had a video saying like, I'm coming to get you, baby, like I am. His 6th birthday last year, it was just a picture of him on this like inflatable like slide, just holding up the number 6. But there weren't a bunch of kids there. It was just him and his brother, and that's it. And it just was like, wow, how disheartening. Like, you're willing to ruin, all of these great things that our child could enjoy for your bitterness. So that's why I understand when these dudes be saying what they say about these
Yeah,
women, because as a
yeah,
woman, I've dealt with it. So when a
yeah.
lot of women love to be like, well, you a pick me and you only want to bash. No, I have been on both sides of this. So as a woman, the only way for us to really get it right is to talk to the women, like,
Right.
period, even on stuff like this. Because even with my middle son's father, with all that he's doing, I can't call his mama because his mama's on his side. You as a
Yeah.
mother should not feel what your son is doing is okay. But a lot of
Right.
these mamas are cheerleaders, piece of shit ass sons. So how the son gonna feel like he wrong if even his mama's cheering him on?
So what was the straw with him?
My middle
With the middle.
son's father,
Yeah, what was the straw with him? What was the final thing?
exportes,
Huh?
physical abuse, verbal abuse, exportes, physical
What's that?
abuse, verbal abuse, gunplay.
What's
He just
exportase?
he was exporte is the new word for restraining order.
Okay, so you said this was for CDV.
Yeah, for the middle son, yeah, because he's
Okay,
got PTSD and a lot of army issues, just
okay.
lies. Basically, had I not had that childhood relationship with him and felt how I felt in my mind at that time, that would have never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of them things. But I'm not about to sit and put the blame on him because it was multiple red flags that had kind of came up in the beginning that I could have walked away from. But me lonely and wanting to be loved, that's why I
Mm-hmm.
say, like, you lonely, people will do anything to not feel lonely, but a
Right.
lot of times it's detrimental to later. Like, and I just don't think people get that. Like, lonely eats at you in a way that you will literally deal with the worst of the worst just to not be alone. And I feel like when a person finally overcomes that, being alone is great, but you got to realize it. And I had to get there. It took years of appreciating my peace and years of understanding and all of that from going through all of the stuff I went through. And I feel like my son's fathers were the exact same man 3 different times, 3 different age brackets, 3 different looks, but the same dude. I call it same script, different cast. So it was a lesson that I was not getting. And it took for me to finally
Gotta
have
be.
a last baby to be like, okay, now this has got to end.
Right. So it sounded like from what you and before you even said that, that's what I was thinking. What you just said, it sounded like you kept meeting, or as some people would say, you're attracting the same kind of guy into your life until you learned it. So with the second one, I just want to address this again. So you said the
Mhm.
exportes, gunplay, PTSD. So even with all this, I'm assuming you had police reports as well,
Yeah,
right?
I do. I had all
So
of this.
none of
I have a
that.
solidified case, and none of this will still get him located for my court date in April.
Got you. So my question, I guess the next question people would ask is, what is it in terms of? And I know you're a single mother or whatever, and obviously a certain situation. What is it? Because you mentioned the GoFundMe earlier, and it's on your page. That's the only reason why I'm bringing it up.
Mm.
How much is it to retain an attorney in Missouri? The average price for family
2700.
2,700. So have you retained one, or what's the situation with that? And how has
So
that
I
worked
didn't
for you?
retain an attorney. So originally the GoFundMe was to retain an attorney, and then I posted that
Hmm.
amount more so, of course, because it's to cover the attorney to cover at least almost 4 hours of the fees and also pay GoFundMe. After talking to a few attorneys and explaining my case versus his and the things that I've already done, I was told I no longer need an attorney because what an attorney would do, I've already done. So really where we're at now, the issue was the private processor. So originally the goal, because no one seems to be able to locate this person for whatever the case may be, the GoFundMe funds were going to be used to pay for the private processor to have him served before his court date, which was yesterday. But by the time I got the private processor, they had stated that I would have needed to have applied 2 weeks prior to yesterday, which I missed that memo because I didn't get them in time. So I missed that mark. So I still don't know anything. And it's more frustrating because this morning I pulled a police officer over. That's how frustrated I was. Bad expired tags and all. Pulled up on a Kansas City police officer and started questioning him
You
about what could
wow,
have
you
happened
wow.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not
You
scared.
honest, you
I'm not a
honest though.
scary person.
I
God
hey,
has not
hey,
given me the spirit of fear.
Delia, I appreciate your honesty though. You keeping it funky. But yeah, keep going, keep going.
Yeah, yeah, for real. So yeah, I pulled the Kansas City police officer over this morning and I was like, hey, like, I just want to know what happens when someone goes to court, but you can't find any information because number one, it wasn't case netted. So I couldn't locate it to even get the information I wanted. So I couldn't find out if the court case was via telephone or he actually had to show up. Then of course, my legal advice was to not go down there because of the past ex partes that we've had against each other. Because
Right.
basically we will bounce out and do that on each other real quick. Don't care. So I couldn't go downtown to scope it out and like ride on them. It just was so let me calm down. So then of course, it leaves no ability to make any decisions. So the frustration for me was just I don't know anything. And then
Right.
I can't do anything. So the officer was like that this is when the runaround came and just made me just really just Who the officer was like that I could call downtown and I could talk to the municipal court and ask them about what happened with the dockets for yesterday. Call downtown, they send me to the municipal executive office. Municipal executive office transfers me to downtown dockets. The dockets were for today. They said they can't repeat yesterday's. Then they transfer me to the detention center. I guess they thought he was in there. He wasn't in there. And then they transferred me back to municipal courts for them to explain to me that they can't give me any further information on the case, but to case net it later on tonight.
Let me stop you right there. Ladies that's watching, fellas that's watching, y'all, you see all the BS that fathers have to go through in court. I've been all the stuff you talking about. I done had to deal with all that stuff, and I know a ton of dudes having to deal with that. And meanwhile, the other parent just gets to sit back and just,
Live their best life.
live their best life while you got to chase all these people down, making phone calls and all this red tape trying to get a child that came from your body, that you had
Out of my body.
Yeah. So it's I find that, it's kind of, even I don't care. Somebody, you have to have some compassion. I get it. You things happen, people argue, people fight, people have disagreements, but to actually go to the point, I could see if there was like some substantial abuse, some drugs involved, or if the person isn't stable or have a place to stay, they still deserve some kind of visitation, whether it be supervised or not. Just don't get to the point where you just like, I'm just so mad, I'm just not gonna let you see your child at all. You did this to me, you hurt me this bad, I'm gonna hold on to this until judgment day. You know what I'm saying? It's just beyond me, but there are people out there like this. That's why I say, like, it's just hearing you say this, and like I said, I'm speaking from a standpoint of someone who's been through that, something similar. But to have compassion, and I think it takes some women to go through something like you went through. Like Holly Berry was like, now all of a sudden she got compassion because she got to pay child support. She's like, I see what men got to go through with the BS, and dude having full custody of the child, as well as same thing with, I think, Eddie Murphy's old girl having to go through that.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, it's some stuff when you got to go through this system, and it makes it, just going through trying to get some answers will drive you crazy. But quick question I have for you though, other than that.
Hold. Yes. And people don't understand, when you call to these downtown municipal court systems and things like that, these are mean people. They don't care because they answer. They don't care what you're going through. Yes, like, and you got to keep these smiles on your face and talk to them, and they do not care. They're mean. They're rude. They're hanging up. It's not good. And all the while, you gotta. Yes, and they know. They don't care, and they know it. Like, they know it. They'll hang right up on you, and you could have been on hold for 4 hours. Like,
exactly. So what is this private processor? Is this somebody that finds the other party? Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yes, So they're more like, I guess, in my mind, I like to compare them to the people that be on Cheaters, like how they be going and finding them.
So they're like a private investigator then.
Yes.
Okay, so basically you were trying to raise money for basically a private investigator to locate,
and serve him his paperwork at his court date yesterday, so he could show up to mine. Because if he doesn't show up to this one, this was my final continuance, and they're going to drop the case. And as unfortunate as this is about to sound, if they do drop the case, then I'm just going to chill for a while, because I can't keep, like, I don't know. I would stress myself into a hernia, stressing myself. And I can't keep doing that. So a part of me has to accept, okay, at the end of the day, at worst case scenario, they're with their dad. Like, y'all took them, but they are their dad. Now, even though they may not be grooming them the way I want and all of that, they are with their dad. And it's like, time heals wounds. Unfortunately, the amount of years that my oldest son's been with his dad has rubbed off on him tremendously. And the child that he is becoming, it's not my greatest accomplishment, but he is still a great person. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of parenting added to it. So
but you do get to see him,
just what it's going to be. But I get to see him. So I just think that for me, it would be great to be a part of my middle child's life. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, that's unfair. He started school, and I think, like I've stated multiple times, I have 3 kids, but I still don't know what it's like to have 3 kids. So, like, I have an 11-year-old, but I've never been at a first day of school. till this school year. For my 11-year-old, this year was my first time dropping him off for his first day of school. Like, I was crying. And mind you, this is 5th grade. Like, but I was never around for that. And not because I was not crap, or not because I'm a deadbeat, because somebody was bitter. So when these dudes be crying about their kids, I get that, because you want to be a part of their life. Like, you just, even if it's something basic, like,
Yeah.
I mean, anything, like, it's just anything. Then my middle son, like, I've missed teeth fall out. I haven't seen so many things for all of them. So now here I am with my baby, and it's kind of unfortunate because with what they've done, it's almost like I'm holding on to my baby so tight. I remember last year when his dad was trying to get him, I almost wouldn't let him go. Like, I just didn't want to, because I was too scared of what he was going to do. And I don't
PTSD.
think people get that. That's the PTSD. Like,
Yeah.
I've had 2 sons' fathers do it. So it ain't even trying to put that on you. But I mean, it's happened twice. Like, you know what I mean? First time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. They don't even have a third time. Like, come on now.
So Delia, you haven't had anybody, and I'm just asking you this because I know we're gonna get into this part of the conversation. You haven't had anybody to say, yo, let me help you out. Let me like a dude that you might have been talking to, or not that it's his responsibility, but somebody in your life that like, yo, let me go ahead and let me get you in, because I think you need an attorney. I hear
Yeah.
what you say. Don't listen to what somebody tells you, when
Mm-hmm.
whether it be a girlfriend or people, barbershop talk, salon talk, or somebody at the court. You need an attorney, in my opinion. But you haven't had anybody be like, yo,
And yeah, and pro bono, they don't want the attorneys won't work pro bono for child custody.
family court, yeah.
So yeah, and that's the thing. I remember the cheapest that a lady would even look at my case was $1,200, and I'm
Yeah,
like, that's like an application, a $1,200 application. You ain't even
right.
guaranteed to take the job. Like, who has $1,200? But I mean, it makes sense because the world's about money. So divorce
Facts.
and custody are the highest paid attorneys levels to go. Like,
So I'm
but
back
no,
to
I
my.
haven't. I actually haven't, and that's why it's so easy for me to shut down dating, because to me, based off, I guess, the PTSD, I feel like a guy wants to date me, of course, because I'm attractive, and he wants to sleep with me, of course, because I'm attractive. At this point, all I really want to do is either build enough to get my sons or build something, period. And I can't even focus on that because of the sons. So, dude, I don't feel like a dude about to come talk to me, hear this, and want to help me with this, and then get back to wanting to get some vagina. Let's be real. So, because I know that, I haven't talked to any dude, because no, I feel like there are dudes that are watching majority of my videos, but will still DM me and be like, hey, how's it going? But I just don't respond because I don't even know. Unless you about to reach out and be like, hey, I got a connect that may assist. You ain't talking about nothing to me. And like I said, I have had a PhD in saying no to men. So a lot of times it's just, I just don't even want to be.
So while she reconnecting real quick, she says she don't want to be bothered and stuff. Guys, hit that like button. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. If you just now entering this, hit that like button, guys. I'm gonna shout out to everybody who gave a super chat. I appreciate my mods, especially the woke therapist, for shooting me the information. Noir Bella QT, appreciate the super chat. Uh, if I'm messing up y'all names, I'm sorry, man. Kaladin Skybreaker. I appreciate the super chat, and I'm about to. I see you, Delia. I'm about to bring you back on. I see you on here. And last person, Akbarrow Yeshua. You got to turn your camera on, Delia. I don't know if your camera's off or what. The screen is. I see you on here. Can you hear me? Yeah, but shout out to everybody who gave a super chat. You know, um, while she's getting that back on, I'll go ahead and go back to full screen. Yo, this is like, and this is interesting to hear a woman's perspective. And there are women that deal with this, but I think you have to deal with it to understand from a male's perspective the stuff you have to go through being separated from your child. You know what I mean? Okay, there you go. I got you. So, where were we? I'm sorry.
I think I just need to stop moving so rapidly because it's
No, no,
affecting
no.
everything.
I mean,
Just
I
right.
feel the energy. So you said this is what you were talking about. You were saying that you don't really want to date because you don't really know a guy's intentions, or you just don't have time because your focus right now is your children.
Yeah,
So
I
you,
feel like I would know a guy's intentions, and they would be just genuine, honest intentions, I would imagine.
mm-hmm.
You know, because like for example, everyone's saying how I'm gonna eventually be famous and all of that. I do not want to be famous. I like to repeat that. I do not want to be famous. I don't goal to be famous. It's not exciting. I could give a damn. I'm just being quite frank with you. But if that's the case, whatever. If I get to a level of people knowing me, fine. But I would like to meet my partner prior to that for real, because I want to know that he wants me for this, not that, right? But like I'm stating now, but like only the feminine part of me wants that. Like, yes, I love to be loved. Yes, I want to lay in here and watch a movie with someone, talk, play cards, all of the little basic things, whatever the case may be. But in the same token, like let's say he has a child. I don't want to explain this child situation. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of my family frowning on me, mind you, because this is something that burns me. My family love to be like, you don't got your kids, but ain't none of
Yeah,
them trying to help me get them. Ain't none of them assisted, ask me how I'm feeling about it. What can they do to help? But they love to be like, you don't got your kids. But I feel like it's because that's really the only fucking thing they can say about me. Because I'm over here making some shit happen without any assistance. I've been in this house 5 years. Ain't none of them help me with it. None of them ask me, do I need any help? They don't ask me if I need a break. None of that. And I'm still over here doing it. And I don't think enough people get, like, some people really only check in with you to see if you failed yet. I feel like
facts,
that's what my family do.
facts,
They don't give a
facts.
damn what's going on over here. And they prove that. So they love to be like, oh, Delia ain't got her kids. So when I get them, then what you gonna be able to say? Oh, nothing. And that's the goal of my life, because these are my kids. And I didn't do anything to ask for these men to take them from me. But I don't think it's a good look or makes them feel good. Number one, when they do finally come back out and had another one, as if it's a replacement, because I don't know how they're taking it. And then number two, let's be real. If I get with a guy, I know he may want a child. I don't want to keep having them. And like I've said, I have three that I don't even know what that's like. What if I can't afford having the three together? Shit, I ain't experienced that. Now we gonna add another? Like,
Right.
no. So I just don't find it to be my wisest choice to try to date. I barely have the time as it is. And then I don't want to be this bitter bitch on the date with you because I know what I'm going up against
Yeah, I
versus
heard you
being at
say that on
ease
your
because at
video.
least my ducks is in a row.
Right. So you want to make sure your life, which I can respect that, you want to make sure your life is straight before you get out there and even, I guess you, like you said, put your problems on somebody else. But at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, I'm not saying, and I know people who watching my video gonna have something to say, but there may be a guy, there may be, if you open up, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm
Yeah, I
saying
get you.
there may just be a guy that wants to help you out. You know what I'm saying? And that
Right.
can help you out, but if you shut down everybody that comes across your path, that could be the reason. And I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to coach you right
No,
now.
I get what you
I'm just
mean.
saying that could be the reason why, things haven't come along a lot further,
No, no, like
because it
people
could be
around in
somebody
this
to assist you.
area,
Huh?
I was gonna say people around this area, when they do stuff for you, they want to either make sure everyone knows they've done it or make you feel a way about it. So like I'm not the type that likes to ask people to borrow. I don't want favors. I'm willing to work to get mine. I've worked since I was 11 years old proudly. Like I don't say it like I worked since I was 11. I'm tired. No, proudly, honorably. I thank God I'm still able to. I don't even know. I don't know how I've been able to braid for almost 23 years and don't have carpal tunnel yet. Like, and get down. Like, so I don't have an issue with it. And I think that that's what I had to realize. For the longest time, I was playing my own victim to all of my issues. And it was
Mm,
almost like I was waiting to be rescued. Like,
there you
it
go.
was like, oh, well, I did this and then I did that and I did this. And it's funny, honestly, in my main live, I mean, my first viral, the dude that asked me what I brought to the table, it humbled me. But what humbled me prior to him to be able to humble me was the reality that when I had broke up with what I would call the love of my life, when we were analyzing our relationship and the do's and the don'ts, because he was nothing like any of the rest of them, but we still ended wrong. It was me. It was me, me,
Who was the
me. It
love of
was
your life?
really all me. I wanted to be rescued. I wanted to be the ex that I've now been single for 2 years from since.
So
I've been single
he's not your
this
child's
month.
father.
It's been 2 years. He's the man I dated right after my child's father.
Okay, got you. Go ahead, continue. Yeah.
Yeah, I had him and then I broke up with him. Later that year, I had met a guy. We dated for a bit. He ended up actually getting killed, unfortunately, sorry. And then I had met this same guy around that time. And it's just so funny. I met this guy, but then my son was taken. I didn't talk to anybody because I worked the whole summer trying to get my son. I got hecka frustrated and I just enrolled into college that year. This was 2018. I went ahead and just enrolled into college to try to get my mind off of that. And that didn't work. And yeah, it just was some downward spiral. But anyway, yes, he was just, I loved him. Like I just did. Like, I did. But the issue that we was having was that he was working to be an entrepreneur and so was I. And I felt like he was older than me. This is all of the mindset that I had when I met him at this time too. So I felt like he was older than me, entrepreneur mindset. So he should have been a lot further ahead than he was. This is where I was at with it. So as our relationship was progressing and he wasn't doing the things that I felt like he should do, I just got mad. And it was just like, I don't want you anymore. But I never took the time to work with him on none of the things. All of the mindset that I have now, I didn't have then. I wanted him to take care of me. And it didn't even really have anything to do with him. It was the bitterness of everyone prior to him. Everyone. It was the bitterness of the first baby daddy, the second baby daddy, the third. It was the bitterness of my mama leaving me, the bitterness of both of my parents being dead. Because by the time I met him, all of this had happened. I lost the best friend. Yeah. He didn't realize this, but he became a victim to my bullshit. Right. And it was because I was with him being a victim to my own bullshit. So after breaking up with him, but realizing how much I truly cared, loved him, and really felt, I was like, wow, it's you. You are, And then it was like, but then talking to the next guy and him asking that, it was like, oh, wow. And you ain't talking about nothing. And that's how that live happened. And it's just funny because that live viraled a year after I made it. I made that live a year before last year. So it's just so crazy how, it's just now spiraling, the way it is, because the mindset that I had by the time that went viral had changed even then. So, and then I don't have the mindset now that I had last November. So like I grow constantly, like, so that's why I got this shirt on, because it's one of my favorite shirts that my friend made, and it's hashtag soul grow. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you know what, no matter what you're going through, so what? Just grow.
So you realize this after the fact. You, at that time, you felt like, from what I gathered from you, you were being controlling. You wanted it to be a certain way, and he wasn't on the same type of time you was on. So you guys just split, or you just broke up? You broke it off with him.
My last boyfriend,
the love of your life that we was talking about. You was like,
what about him?
So what I gather, just so I'm understanding this correctly, you said you were. It sounded like from what you were talking about, you were being controlling, or you wanted him to be a certain way, but
yeah,
he wasn't on that type of time.
I felt like he was older than me and he was at his mom's. I had my house. He had an entrepreneur spirit and a business up and running, and I hadn't even started mine yet. So I felt like, okay, well, let's get together. You only got a few credits left in college. Like, we can make something happen. So I'm telling him to do all of these different things. He's doing none of them. And it's just like, well, you're not doing shit, but you're not even doing what I'm telling you to do. What the fuck are we doing here? Like, what the, like you're supposed to do this. That's literally how I was acting to him. No lie. So when it was done, it was just like, wow. And he wasn't a bad dude or none of that. It's just like my approach was awful. And it was just, that's how I was then. Like, and it was because I didn't heal. I didn't heal from so many different things.
There you go.
I just met him, liked him, because I was still really butthurt from my son being taken. So like, it was just trauma after trauma after trauma. And they're not excuses, because I had to decide that I need to do the healing. I need to do the shadow work. I need to fast. I need to detox. I need to relax. Like, I need to change.
Go ahead, baby.
So that new things can happen. I wanted a different result, but I was wanting to do the same thing. That's the definition of insanity.
Yes. Nah, I get it. I mean, I think we can all respect, and I think that's what a lot of guys the guys who've seen your videos tend to embrace you, because of your self-awareness and, in retrospect, your accountability now, looking at it, not just saying that, these guys were the issue, even though I know you said some things about these gentlemen, but you admitted that, hey, these are my faults. You said that not any of these guys, not any of the children's fathers were the love of your life. This is a guy after the fact was the love of your life. So
yeah, none of them were the love of my life. Not one of them. Yeah, I have no shame in saying that. Yeah, none of them were.
And for you to recognize that. So I didn't ask you though. What were they? You said there was age differences between all three of them. What were the
Yes,
age?
there were, and I more
What were
so
the?
say that. So my first son's father, he was a year older than me, and so was my second son's father. But we all were around, like we went to school together. I went to school with my first son's father. We didn't even talk in school. It's crazy.
Mhm.
Just talked after. My middle son's father, we went to school together. We just weren't in the same grade. Ooh, pardon me. But we went to two different schools together, actually. So we known each other, for a long time. We were the same. But my youngest son's father is my youngest baby daddy. And when he met me, he lied to me about his age. So God, I'm old. I was 29 and he said he was 27 and he was really 23. So I am currently 33. That makes him 26. Yeah, he just turned 26. I can't keep up. He lied. The nigga's a liar. So he lied, and yeah. But I was so lonely, it was just like, whatever. I met my youngest son's father the same year that my best friend got killed.
Mm.
That exact same year. And then later on that following year, because that story is a trip in itself. Later on that following year, my dad died, and I was taking care of my dad in my house. So I really feel like it I just was foolish to have stayed. Every flag that you could imagine happened with him. My favorite flag was in the very beginning. Me and him got into it one night. We broke up. That night he slept with somebody. The next morning we were back talking about it, and he came over and he was like, "Man, I just want to let you know I went over with this whole house and slept with her." And it's like, what? Like, we just was funking, and you've already went and slept with a hoe. I should have left him alone then. But I was one lonely bitch, wasn't trying to go out here and talk to new people, didn't want to add to my body count. So like, it's just ridiculous. Like, I should have left him alone then. And it's just and he didn't claim the baby, and just a bunch of mess. Got the DNA test, said if the baby's mine, I'll be in his life. Baby was his, still not in his life. Like, just ridiculous stuff. Like, so I had the opportunity to walk away. So this was just that all three of these beds I made, and baby, I'm laying in them, but they ain't comfortable at
Right.
all. So, one of my auntie's favorite things I love when she say, because it's the dumbest shit ever, and she be like, if I look like you, I would have this and this and this. They love to say that, but
Yeah.
okay, I look like this, so what is it that we're gonna do? Because you ain't got no game to lace me with, girl. Hush your mouth.
Right. Right. What am I doing wrong if that's the case? Right. Yeah. Tell you if you look
Yeah,
like
if
that.
that's the case,
I'm pretty
then
sure
lace my boots.
people.
But you're
It's
gonna be like,
always
yeah, I
people
have
trying
one
to
sugar
tell
daddy
you.
and two sneaky links. Ugh.
Yeah. People always trying to tell you how to be you. You know what I'm saying? Like, or
Mm-hmm.
what works for you, or what should work for you. You said two
Yeah.
baby daddies and a sneaky link. What'd you say?
No, I said she would probably want me to have two sugar daddies and a sneaky link.
Yeah. And obviously
Because
you
I
would
don't
be able
believe
to
in
do
none of
that.
that. I don't believe
Yeah.
in none of that. I just don't believe in none of that. I don't. So
Yeah. I mean, because
when
I
these
could.
chicks be hopping on these posts and be like, if you can't get no sugar daddy, just say that. Or it, who can't get?
Right.
Maybe y'all telling yourself that, because let's be real, I could get that bullshit. I don't want it. There's a difference. Like, there's a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, based off the issues, I think if you went that route, I wouldn't say a lot of these issues would be resolved, but it'll be a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand what you're
First,
saying.
if I went that route, I'd probably have a lawyer tomorrow.
Right.
Let's be real.
Facts. And I'm pretty sure once you get off here tonight, it'll be some dudes on your YouTube trying to message you, on your IG trying to figure out, let me do something for you. What can I do for you, Delia? While she's on there, while she's she's back up. I'm gonna bring her back. Oh, we got a different one on here. Okay. There we go.
That's so weird.
I'm
That's
pretty
so
sure
weird.
that
I'm sorry. That's like with the OnlyFans. Like a lot of the YouTubes, they say that I'm an OnlyFans model. But one of the
right.
main reasons why I won't have an OnlyFans is my oldest son is now 11 with his
Hmm.
own TikTok. So no, I'm not about to. Like, I'll promote myself in lingerie, swimsuits like that. But the level of an OnlyFans, no, because my son's approaching the age where he about to start looking at OnlyFans. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of people like just do so much faking out here. But I remember being 10, 11, and 12. And like, even the stuff we had access to wasn't at the level they do. Like, we had access to like Playboy and, like, HBO Max and stuff. They got real accessibility to things. So no, I'm not about to place myself in a position to where my son can be bullied or placed in an uncomfortable position because I'm out doing the most. Like, I've already done enough in my life that I may possibly have to hear about anyway. I don't have
Right.
time for that. So
Yeah.
like, that's not something that I'm gonna get a kick out of doing. I want to promote to make money for my sons, but I don't want to fucking embarrass my sons. And a lot of these women that have a lot of daughters, like, no one's talking to them about this shit, but these shitty daughters are gonna have to date my sons. So when one of my sons bring one of your thought ass daughters over my house, I'm not gonna be talking to her kindly. So you need to be trying to work on her. Like, that's really how I feel.
So fellas, you heard what she said. She's not a OnlyFans chick. She's not an
Not at
IG.
all.
What's the IG after dark? What is it called? With the IG private? They got something they got where it's like
Oh, see, and I
IG.
don't know that. Like, I thought that was weird because, like, I even feel the way right now. Like, you can subscribe to my Facebook fan page, and it's
Yeah.
$4.99 a month. And at first, in my mind, I was like, well, who the hell about to pay to watch something they can watch for free? But then I seen that, like, I can upload like different videos that the rest of the public can't see. So I think that's actually cool. So my subscribers can get more of an intimate,
Yeah.
So now basically all my subscribers, I'm about to start uploading reels from behind the scenes of my photo shoots and stuff like that, so that they can get a piece of me that the others don't get. And now it
Right.
does make sense for them to at least be subscribed, because outside of just getting a ping when I post something, like, I just want to make it make sense. I never plan to get to a level of making a lot of money, because money to me truly is the root to all evil. And if you ask me if I rather have money, power, respect, like I've always said, I'm going to want to have respect, because respect brings power and the power brings the money. That's just how I think. So I don't want that. I just want my kids, and I would eventually like to have a husband so I can be happy. I don't care about the rest of that. Like I was saying, I said people should be concerned, because if I get a spouse, I mess around and not see me on the internet no more, because I'm going to be living for him. And I'm a Virgo. We serve well. Do you hear me? So yeah, that's another reason I don't want to half step, because I want to give everything that I have to my man, because that's a big part of my life. Like a lot of women, I feel have cut that out and made it about, so many other things, which is fine. But me, no, I was created to be a helpmate to a man. And when I get mine, it's going to be everything, period. But in the meeting in between, I've made little men, and I need to be helping get them or do something, with my little men, my little baby men.
She's a Virgo. I hear you. So, with all that being said, moving forward, where do you what's your upcoming plans? Like besides getting your boys back. Well, I know it, Delia. We dealing with that. Yo, hey, we at 94 watching, man. We got 113 likes. Let's get this up to 120 real quick. I know you guys that are just joining in. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It'll help out your karma too, guys. So hit that like button, man. We got the lovely Delia King in here, and she's putting out some, you know, some information here for you guys, that it's not just, not just the guys that struggle. You do have dudes that's doing the same thing as well. Some of you may have developed opinions like, well, maybe she deserves it, so on and so forth. Everybody deserves to see their kids other than that stuff going on. But anyway, I got you, Delia. You back. What's happening?
Oh. The question you was asking me, what are my plans? So the current plan, of course, on the forefront is working on the son. But in the midst of it, I am writing a book. It's taking a long time, though. I'm not going to front, because my
Hmm.
attention span is like a goldfish. But I'm
Okay.
writing a book just about the past situations, because a lot of people have asked, and I do think it would be really empowering, just to read, because some of the things that I've been through, like, you'd never see looking at my face ever. And I think that enough people need to know that, it doesn't necessarily matter what you look like or your background. When people out here aren't great people and they decide that you're going to be the target, there's just no way around that sometimes. And I've become victim to some certain things that I couldn't control, but then I've also been victim to things that I could control. So I'm writing about that. The podcasting is also the next on the horizon. And then I've just been this is the year that I'm really going to put more work behind my non-for-profit, which is Sunshine's Hair Haven. And that's where I
Right.
style adoptive and foster children.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. So I know a lot of folks be asking. I seen a lot of comments, and I seen a lot of comments here as well. You got a lot of ink, right? What's the story behind your ink? Is there like, is it therapeutic? What's going on with that? And how many
So
have you kept track of how many sleeves? And I know you can't numerate or
yes, I
how
can.
many tattoos. You
I
can?
have
Okay.
83 tattoos.
Okay, continue.
I have 83 tattoos. And but usually when a person asks, it's really just easier to say that I've sat through over 75 tattoo sessions,
Okay.
because it's still just as stressful to anybody. As soon as I say that, they're like, what? Oh my gosh. So but I've sat through over 75 tattoo sessions. But yes, it's therapeutic. It's a mixture of things. What I've learned now is really it's the story away from the story. So like everything that you heard, you don't see none of that anywhere on me.
Mm,
So when you see me, you would want to talk about all of this, which takes away from the hurts that I truly feel. So a lot of times, a lot of people's tattoos are covering up what's up underneath. And my sleeve started from that. I didn't start my arms until Jay took Jeremiah. And it was back to back every week for that first year. Every week, I was just going and getting stuff. I didn't care how much it cost. I didn't care how it felt. It was like the only release that I could get. Like, so yeah, that very first year, oh my God, like, yeah. And you, when you look like on my Facebook, like you can just see how they just randomly just start popping up and filling in. And then later it just came into leg, and then I just go everywhere. And they all have a meaning, every last one of them. And they took years. My very first tattoo was at 16, and the last tattoo I got was actually 3 days ago. I got my elephant on my hand reshaded in, and it's still peeling.
hmm. Okay. We can peep it on your page. I know this the visual's not too good right now, right here, but I know they're gonna go to your
Oh, but I
IG.
know, so like on my neck, the story on my neck that I know a lot of people love, and I love to tell. This was a well thought out tattoo that was 2.5 years in the making, and it was because number one, it took me a year to decide to really put the shit on there, because in my
Okay.
mind I was like, okay, as a female. You change the look of yourself once a neck tat is applied.
Hmm.
I've looked at myself in videos without the neck tat in verses. Number one, my voice was deep. So I already knew the man shit was gonna come. And then the
Right.
locks. I'm like, oh my God. But I want what I want. And my image of beauty may not be yours, but that
Right.
doesn't mean it's not beautiful. So, I have so many different men that are like, well, you'll get a husband if you remove your tattoos. Oh, well, I guess I'm gonna live a lonely life. Because why would I do that? Like, then I feel like the husband that's for me definitely is not gonna, if he's for me, these tattoos are going to be the last thing that he's going to be concerned
Right.
about. That's just how I feel. But as far as exactly what is on there, so it's 3 pyramids on my neck, and then below the 3 pyramids is 2 camels, and then a man walking, and then it's the actual eye of Horus and not Ra. You just didn't know this, but I'll get into that here in a second. So the 3 pyramids actually
We'll talk
represent.
about that offline since but I feel you. We'll talk about the Eye of Ra and Eye of Horus,
Well, I have
you
them
know,
both.
So
I have them
yeah.
both. I put one where the moon goes, and then the
Okay.
other
Okay.
here. So that's all.
Yeah. Continue.
But we
Yeah.
will, yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Okay, anytime. Sorry, sorry. Anyway, boom. So pyramids represent my 3 sons, and then the 2 camels and the man walking through the desert. The man represents me, and the 2 camels represent my adopted parents. And it's because everyone knows that camels carry water in their humps, which is like life. But
Hmm.
because my parents were so much older than me, it's like I led them through my childhood. So it's me walking my parents through the desert, and then the pyramids in the background are what keeps me rooted, which are my children. And then I put this eye here because I wanted to put it here, but they talked me out of it. So it's for the reasons you've already listed, but I put it there because it was that. It just took me a while to find the one I wanted. I wanted to make sure it emphasized everything that it stated and still looked good. So it took a while. And then everything else is everything else that represents me. Let me get my sides right. So on this side, it's a sunflower. Because number one, of course, my nickname is Sunshine, but I love sunflowers because they grow anywhere. They grow on the side of highways, behind dumpsters, in driveways, no matter where, what, but they're still beautiful. And I feel like that is a representation of me because everything I've been through, I still was able to blossom beautifully. So that's a huge representation of me. And then I'm hugely into wind turbines, which are those things that you see when you're driving on the highway. I love those. Like, I'm just into them. I love how they radiate and they provide energy to the people around me. And when you're around me, I'm a spark of energy, a big burst of it. So I got one put on my neck because that's me.
Awesome. So that is a left eye, just for clarification. That's not a right eye. Okay. Because I'm just looking from my perspective, it looks like a right eye. That's
Right.
why.
And it's because I'm talking to you on the front of my
Right.
camera.
Got you. But
So yes, now that you got it. So yes, I got this up here, and then on my butt cheek, well, it's below it though. Below my butt cheek, I actually have Ra with it going the Ra direction.
yeah. Can you come up some? I'm not trying to see your bust, but let me see
Oh,
your yeah, because I'm just looking because I can read the writing, but I hear you. So I was just because it looked like a right eye, but I get what you're saying now that we looking at from the camera, it's the left
yeah,
eye.
you gotta pick the eyebrow that it matches.
Right. That looks like a right eye, but I feel you. I get it. I got you. I'm dead serious. It looks like a right eye. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she got fellas. If you want to, she's on Instagram, and you can subscribe with her Facebook to see the butt cheek one. No, I'm just joking, man. I don't know if it's on there. Hey, but if you want to see the eye of Raw, if you want to see the eye of Raw instead of
Or
the eye of
horse.
Horus, the eye of Horus is on her neck. If you want to see the eye of Raw, go to her face. Well, I have all that link is linked below. I mean, it's linked in the description. Anyway, we got the background on that. That was dope. The turbines, you got the family, the great pyramids out there, all that, the parents, the camel with the water, we can dig it. You know what I'm saying? So everything has a meaning, not
Yes.
necessarily the stuff that you just said, but it has its meaning to it. And
Yes, every tattoo on me has a meaning. Every one of them. I have
mm,
these little unicorn tattoo on my finger here. You can see it. So me and one, two, three, four of my cousins, we all have the same tattoo. We went and got it about 3 years ago for my birthday. That was what I wanted to
mm,
do for my birthday, was all get unicorn tattoos. So we all each have one on our ring finger.
mm, dope. So are you gonna keep going or what's happening? What's
Now
happening?
honestly, so I feel like, well, what I've done now, number one, my cousin's apprenticing the tattoo, so I feel like she's gonna start working on my body more. The last two tattoos prior to this one that I got are her, you know, like, oh no, too ashy, won't be doing that. So anyway,
You too
was
you
her
you
doing
too
the
light to be
tattoos.
ashy, but go ahead.
But what?
Say you too light to be ashy. Cut that out. How
Oh,
you
okay,
ashy?
so games are being played. Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing the games. Let me see the ash. Does anybody see any ash?
Do you see a tattoo?
Yeah, we can see the tattoo. Okay. Now what is that?
Ash.
No, what's the tattoo? We don't see no ash. What's the tattoo?
It's right here.
Yeah, what
I
is it?
can't show you and see at the same time, but it's a little lotus flower. It's just an outline because she's apprenticing, so she's only doing the outline. So
Okay.
anyway, but yes, so now honestly, some of the tattoos that are a little older and need to be refreshed, I've really just been refreshing. So like my elephant, I got that right before COVID, but the amount of hand washing that I've done, it's faded. So I got it touched up. So it's still peeling, so it's still relatively dark, but like that'll look better once it's finally, how it needs to be. So, as far as just getting new ones, I don't have any more that I'm just currently so interested in. I just want to get a few fixed that just could look better.
Got you. I
But
dig
yeah,
it.
I'm actually cool on them for right now. It
Okay.
was just something to do. When you have your kids keep you busy. They keep you occupied and they keep you doing stuff. When you don't, your mind actually stays occupied on the kids. I feel like that's where I
Yeah,
was.
indeed. Indeed. So we got all that out the way. I mean, we heard all of that, so we know what your future endeavors is going. So you got I got your YouTube page, and she's going to be posting more. I'm just speaking that into existence. I know
Yes,
we talked
yes.
about it earlier. She's been posting videos, guys. Subscribe to her channel. It's in the description now of this video. We're gonna get her up to 1,000. That way she can get monetized. She's only like
Hey.
100. She's 100 subs away. So you guys is watching. I'm pretty sure we can get
Yay!
her to 1,000 subs to get her monetized and watch the videos so she can get those 200 watch hours, whatever it is. But anything else you wanted to add, Delia? In terms of a positive word to the fellas or the ladies out there that may be struggling or dealing with something similar to yourself. anything you want to say or people should know about you based off of outside of what they saw on TikTok and things like that, and that you haven't revealed here?
Um, I would say that if you watch any video that I've ever made, I just want to make sure that you understand that whatever I said in it, I meant that, and that I'm serious. I say everything with purpose, on purpose. So like I'm very methodical in the way I come, the way I format, and I feel like to know me is to love me. So if you take the time to understand a lot of the times where I'm coming from with the stuff that I'm saying, I personally do feel I'm highly relatable. So this ain't, I think the term that people love to use right now is the pick me. And it's funny because I still just think that's hilarious. But for me, I feel like a person only says that because they choose to not agree with me. And that ain't to say that I'm here for everyone to like me, but I like to be what's called well-rounded. I enjoy that. I enjoy having the broader spectrum and all of that. So I feel like if I'm open to so many ideas and things like that, and all I want is for peace, but I'm a pick me, then damn it, I'm a pick me. Because at the end of the day, I really just want peace and I want love and I want to be loved. But for the longest time, I wouldn't even say I was looking for love in the wrong places. I was looking for love for the wrong reasons. So
Mm.
now that I understand that I can't expect for people to feel this void in my heart that I have to feel for myself, now when I find the love that's for me, I can appreciate it for what it is instead of me finding love and placing an opinion on it. So I guess my advice for everyone is when you meet someone, do not give them an opinion. Just allow them to be who they are and love them for them. Because as soon as you place an opinion on somebody, you put them in a box. And when with my ex, I feel like what made me lose him is I placed an opinion on him. As soon as I placed that opinion on him, every time he didn't fit into that opinion, I found another reason not to like him versus just loving him for who he was. And I probably could have still been with him.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. It was great talking to you. Where can everybody follow you at? Other than I know I got your YouTube
So I
and
know my
the
main location for following that I'm guaranteeably getting on each day is Facebook. I am Delia King, and that's only because I feel like I don't get banned from there as often as TikTok. I love being on TikTok, I really do, but I get banned and reported, and I go through so much on there, and I know it's because of the amount of children that are on TikTok mixed with my profanity. So, with that being
right.
stated, if I had to pick, it would be that, and it's because I had a amazing Instagram. It was called I am Delia King with no hashtags, and
Yeah.
then Waxy 17K hacked it. You can still look this up. And I don't know how to get it back at all. I don't know what I'm even supposed to do. They told me I could send a video, but I can't even get that link. So he has stolen my Instagram. So now I have I am underscore Delia King, and it has like 2,000. And honestly, because of him taking it, it just hasn't even motivated me the same. Like I was really on top of my Instagram, and that hacking really just ruined it for me. So that I would just say Facebook. I don't tweet because I don't have the patience. I
Yeah.
don't Snapchat because for real, I feel like that's the sneaky link paradise. So I just rather just stick to Facebook, TikTok, and soon YouTube. Soon YouTube.
Indeed, indeed. Well, guys, you heard it. I have her. I'm gonna link her YouTube is there now. So hit that subscribe. Hit that link to subscribe to her channel. I'm gonna have everything else linked on here as well. And you'll be joining us next week, right? We gonna just keep
Yes.
it okay. We'll keep it quiet for now, but she'll be joining us next week as well. That'll be fun. You know what I'm saying? Instead of I know this is kind of serious, but we had some fun here tonight.
This
But
was needed though. I thank
you
God for this. I
you
thank
know
God for you.
I appreciate you. Hey, sit tight though. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out real quick.
All righty.
She already gave y'all, basically this. I think this needed to be heard. When I heard your videos, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm like, I think dudes and women need to hear what it is that you say or know what's going on behind the scenes, what
Mm-hmm.
actually happened and the reason. I wanted to know personally, you know what I'm saying? So if I
Mm-hmm.
want to know, I'm pretty sure everybody else, because we can watch a video and be like, oh, she's this, that, whatever, da, da, da. But to actually find out is something different. So I appreciate you joining me. Just sit tight. Here I'm gonna just put you in the back studio, and we'll chop it up here. But I'm gonna go ahead and close this out, Delia. 1 second. So, guys, there you have it, man. This was a great show. I normally don't do multiple lives back to back, but we was on here. Sorry about the technical difficulties starting a little later than usual, but this is an awesome show. Share this video with your buddies, your friends, anybody who you think may need to watch this, because this was truly needed to be some information that's not really heard, especially I never heard of it, that Missouri is on that type of time. What I'm saying? It's crazy to me. But once again, shout out to everybody who gave a super chat. I appreciate you. Shout out to my moderators. I appreciate you as well, doing a great job and things like that. Also, guys, if you didn't know, Cuffin Reasons Dating Show every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested in being a guest, hit me up on IG or email me at jrwisdomunlimited@gmail.com. Like the video, share, subscribe to this channel. I invite you to subscribe if you haven't. Hit all notifications. Subscribe to my backup channel. If you're interested in credit cards, funding, real estate, just gigs that can help you make money, subscribe right now to the Hustler's Apprentice channel. The links are all in the description as well. And listen, man, purchase all my books, my merch. You guys see them right here. Puppeteering with Heartstrings and the Law of Attraction for the Pessimistic Mind. Pick up your copy right now for the price of a junior bacon cheeseburger. You can get it right now, instantly. Links is in the description. So with that being said, man, once again, I appreciate you guys joining me on this late night and rocking with me, everybody who showed support and gave a super chat. And with that being said, this is Wisdom. Peace be upon you all, the mercy and blessings of the Almighty. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. I'm out of here. Peace.